I'm going to show a couple of examples of how acetals are formed by working backwards from an already formed hemiacetal or an already formed acetal. So when we look at an already formed hemiacetal, and this is a hemiacetal because we have our acetal carbon, it's connected to an OH as well as an OR group. So from this acetal carbon, we can work backwards to figure out what the molecule was that formed it. So what we're going to do is we're going to do a reaction, and we have two starting products. What we're going to have is a carbonyl, and we're going to have an alcohol. And we know we're going to have just one alcohol because we made a hemiacetal. So on this acetal carbon of the hemiacetal, where this is, this will now be changed into the carbonyl. So we are not going to change the carbon structure at all. So this is the carbon chain, just like all of the reactions that we've done. This carbon chain does not change. So I'm going to redraw that carbon chain. And we have, from the acetal carbon, we have one carbon to the right, and then we have 1, 2, 3, 4 carbons to the left. There's a total of 6 carbons here. So this was the acetal carbon. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And on that acetal carbon, that becomes the carbonyl. So what we've made here is a ketone, and this happens to be 2-hexanone. The other molecule that this is formed from comes from the breaking of the acetal bond, which happens right there. This is what makes up the alcohol. So the carbon chain doesn't change, and this becomes the alcohol. So it's ethanol with 2-hexanone to make our hemiacetal. We're going to do the same thing for this molecule right here. Now if we look at this molecule right here, this is an acetal. And so if we're going to draw the molecules that make this acetal, what we're going to do is we identify where the acetal bond is. We identify first where the acetal carbon is. And it's this one because this carbon is attached to an OR and to another OR. What we're going to do is we're going to break the acetal bonds, which is those two bonds right there. And so we have our same carbon chain that we started with. And this will be our carbonyl. And this is where our acetal carbon was. So this will become an aldehyde called butanal. And now since this is an acetal, we're going to we're going to need 2 alcohols. And the 2 alcohols are both the same in this case. They have 1 carbon connected to an OH. So we're going to have 2 methanol molecules that we can draw like that. So we have a carbonyl reacting with 2 alcohols to make an acetal, or we have a carbonyl reacting with 1 alcohol to make a hemiacetal.